podcast contains subject matter that may be disturbing to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Four imprints,
one.
It's time to open the door in your mind. Sit back and listen to true horror. But be careful what you allow in. Because it's time to go through the fog. This week's story is The Last Origami, posted by user Brugalug to r/scary stories. They were folding paper cranes the evening we lost Lucy. I could still see my little girl sitting in her chair at the kitchen table, her black hair and pigtails and her blue eyes gleaming with joy as she showed off her creation. "Daddy, Daddy, look!" she'd squealed. Only moments later, the excitement had faded, and those dreaded words passed my daughter's lips. "Ouch! Mama, I'm bleeding!" Indeed, bright red blood had welled up on Lucy's finger, the result of a paper cut. Within only a few seconds, the outdoor sound of humming, usually so omnipresent we'd forget about it, began to noticeably increase in volume and intensity. My wife and I exchanged a knowing, tearful glance. We knew our dear Lucy was already dead. I reached out to hug my little girl one last time, but her mother pushed me back. "The blood! Don't get it on you!" she warned in a stern, rational voice. "There's no sense in losing both of you." She immediately began hauling our writhing little Lucy away towards the glass sliding door. Through it, I could only see an undulating cloud of blackness with only the faintest slivers of gray sky evident. "Get the fogger, Daniel, quick!" she ordered. Unlatching the door, I could already hear a couple of what an uneducated person would have called mosquitoes in the house, drawn in through some small gap by the scent of Lucy's blood. Mosquitoes is not an adequate enough word to describe those larger hell-spawned abominations. Within a second, I'd grabbed the fogger from its location on the kitchen wall. 2 puffs slowed the intruders sufficiently that we were able to drop them to the floor and crush them. Their thick armor made it feel like I was grinding small rocks into my hardwood. Then, like a storm of sideways hail, the things began to beat themselves against the sliding glass door and other household windows. A hairline crack formed on the door's top corner. "What's happening, Mommy? Daddy?" Lucy was terrified. Jacqueline didn't respond. She decided enough to shove her youngest daughter out, while I fogged the gap to keep the horde on the other side. I was mostly successful. I should have looked away then, but I didn't. I'll never forget the image, which has burned itself into my consciousness. As my wife slid shut the blinds, I caught one final glimpse of my little girl. Lucy appeared to be covered head to toe in thick, black, pulsing hair. I could see that they'd even coated the insides of her mouth when she'd opened it to scream. From what the news bulletins tell us, there's no pain. It's quick and almost instantaneous. Sometimes the swarm leaves a dried, desiccated corpse for the bereaved family members to bury. We didn't get one. Within a week, the government had sent their condolences, along with a spare test tube so we could grow another beautiful child. It's safe to say, though, that we're done with origami. Through the Fog is recorded and edited by Haptic. Produced by Flyover State Park and Kevin Caravan. All stories are recorded with the original author's permission or released under a Creative Commons share-alike license. For more episodes, visit throughthefogcast.com or follow fog_cast on Twitter. Links to both are in the show notes. You can support the show by visiting buymeacoffee.com/throughthefog or simply by rating and reviewing on your podcatcher of choice. It's the simplest way to support independent shows like these. Whatever you decide to do, though, thank you for listening, and talk to you next week.
This is Flyover State Park. You are clear to land.